Welcome to Pure Mind Magic, the show to evolve your mind. Our mind is the most powerful thing we have, but no one teaches us how to use it. When we find out how, we're ready to create magic in life and in business. Learn real mindset secrets from brilliant minds around the world to change your mindset and income level forever. With every decision you make, you create your future. What is your next move? Now, welcome your host, international magician, speaker, and podcast performance consultant, Jennifer S. Royal.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in again to Pure Mind Magic and Interview Friday today with my star guest, Steve Olsher. He's a 4x seven-figure entrepreneur and really an online Mongol. He's the author of the New York Times Bestselling book, What is Your Book? And America's Reinvention Expert. He's also really an expert when it comes to businesses and how to start a business from scratch. He already made a lot of money and he is the founder of the new media summit that is now in February in Florida. So this is going to be a really interesting interview also about podcasting because Steve is the host of Reinvention Radio and Beyond 8 Figures. So when you are too interested in podcasting, it is a good idea to go to the new media summit where you can pitch yourself to the 40 best podcasters in the world at the moment. And also to really get started and find out more about podcasting, you can grab a copy of my book, How Podcasting Can Change Your Life. Unleash Endless Possibilities. That is on Amazon as Kindle or as paperback, whatever you prefer. So let's get started with this inspirational business interview with my guest, Steve Olsher. Hi, Steve. Welcome to Pure Mind Magic.
Well, thank you for having me on Pure Mind Magic.
You're very welcome. And I'm really excited to have you today on the show because you have this amazing energy, Steve. And it's so impressive, everything you accomplished already. You are a 4x seven-figure entrepreneur, really a podcast expert, and more of that, America's Reinvention Expert. So we have a lot of cool stuff to talk about today. But before we dive into this, can you give us a short introduction of who you are and what you are doing?
Well, as you said, I've been an entrepreneur for the better part of, almost 30 years now. And even from a very young age, I think I was pretty entrepreneurial, I guess you could say, when I was old enough to kind of move a pile of leaves around with a rake or try to shovel some sidewalks and driveways and that kind of thing. Just always been wired to try to make a dollar or two. So that's led to a lot of interesting things, from DJing to nightclubs and catalogs and .coms and real estate. And now, of course, in the podcasting space and speaking and doing live events and so on. I think if you name it, I've probably tried it over the years.
Wow, that is so inspiring and also motivational. So, Steve, we could say that you really have it in your blood to take businesses from scratch to make them really, really successful. And it is said that you are America's Reinvention Expert. So why do you think this is so important, like from time to time, to reinvent yourself, reinvent your business, coming up with something new, changing things? What would you say?
Well, certainly reinvention is something that I've been able to do throughout my adult life for sure. And as I said, having done a number of different things over the years, it's kind of made me the poster child for reinvention in a lot of ways. So it's, look, we grow and we evolve and we find different things to be important at various points of our lives. And I think that's ultimately why it's important to reinvent who you are and what you do, because of the fact that you're just going to find yourself either bored or with a new set of skills, or something happens to you in your life and you need to make that change.
Makes so much sense. And I think it's sad that change is the only constant we really have in life. And when you look at big stage personalities like Madonna, they reinvent themselves over and over and coming up with a new personality in a completely new style. So what would you say can entrepreneurs learn from that?
I would just simply say that business changes, and you've just got to be willing and ready to change along with it, right? I mean, it's just as simple as that. And it's those who kind of get stuck in attempting to refute change, I think is probably a better word, right? Rather than a review, because I don't even think is an actual word. But those who get stuck trying to refute change, and just are not willing to accept how things are evolving, really those are the ones who end up getting stuck and end up seeing their careers and or their businesses really stagnate.
I see. So, Steve, it is always said that there is always a reason for why people do certain things, and it's important to have a big why behind what you are doing. But you have a kind of a different approach, because you have a book out that is called What is Your What? And it's like really starting from the beginning. Before you have this why, you need your what. So you need to know what is the thing that you are born to do. So why is this book so amazing and helped so many people find their what, and even became a New York Times bestseller?
Well, it really does, in my way of thinking, boil down to understanding how you're naturally wired to excel, and your why, which is what a lot of people talk about, is something that you can choose. I mean, it's something that it's external. You can decide to help starving children in Africa, or provide clean drinking water for people in India, or I don't know, whatever it is for you. You can make that decision. But to me, your what is really that which reflects how you're naturally wired to excel. And I do believe that your what has chosen you, as opposed to it being that which you have chosen. So to me, your what is really an internal. It's something that you can spend a lifetime in denial about, but it is there. And at the end of the day, once you are clear on what your what is, that, as you would say, I mean, that is truly where the magic happens.
I like that. And it's amazing. So I think also that when you find your what, so the thing you are here to do and the thing to create, to help other people, to serve other people, like the business to build, then it's about that everything falls into place, right?
Well, the what is your what framework is really all about three specific pieces of the puzzle. I mean, there's the piece of the puzzle that reflects your core gift, which is basically something that comes as naturally to you as breathing. There's the piece of the puzzle that represents the vehicle that you will use to share that gift. And then there are the people that you're most compelled to serve. And so it's the combination of those three pieces, if you will, that make up the what is your what framework. And that's ultimately what you do need to solve for in order to have clarity on truly what puts fire in your soul.
I can sense the magic formula behind it. And Steve, the good news for everyone listening at the moment is that you actually give away the book for free. Can you tell us where to pick up this amazing gift?
Yeah, we do. We give away a free copy of the entire New York Times bestseller. Pretty simple. Just go to whatisyourwhat.com and you can opt in there for a free copy of the entire book.
Great. So thanks for sharing this with us. And now to my next question. So Steve, obviously I mentioned in the beginning that you are a 4x 7-figure entrepreneur. So you already made a lot of money, but there was also a time where you gone broke and you build it up all again or even further. So what is the thing in your mindset that changed, and what motivated you to stand up again and start again?
Well, again, I think that for those of us who are wired as entrepreneurs, you can only take so much time off, if you will, before you're met with the new opportunity and met with something that truly gives you inspiration and makes you want to jump out of bed every day. So for me, there's been interesting periods of time where I've kind of gone through the doldrums a little bit and not really clear on what it is that I want to be doing. And then, as soon as it hits, it's pretty clear as day that there's nothing else you want to be doing and can be doing. So yeah, it's just a matter of being open to what's possible and being open to just the realities that, things come to us if we're open to receive those messages, and a lot of people just aren't open to receiving those messages. And that really is the first step here on the path, is just putting yourself out there in a way where you're just open to receiving.
Very good point, Steve. So looking back, would you say that this lack of clarity really costed you a lot of energy and was really tough to get through? And like that, when we turn it around and get into this clarity mode and really knowing what we are doing and why and what, that this clarity really can lead to power and accelerate everything we are doing?
Yeah, and ultimately, when it comes to business, what I'm crystal clear on is that people buy energy, and clarity sells, right? So when you have that clarity, you ostensibly are selling to yourself first about the vision and what it is that you can do and will do, and are compelled to do. And once you buy into that vision, it's pretty contagious.
Yes, that's a good point with the energy, because it's true. So nowadays, it's not enough to have a good product or to be a good speaker and good consultant. In the end, it's that people buy your energy and what they are sensing from you. So that's so interesting. And
Yeah.
Talking about energy, Steve, I'm really curious because it is really so impressive what you accomplished and what you get done in a day, in weeks, in a year, obviously. So what is it that drives you after achieving everything you already have achieved?
Well, it is an interesting question because the God's honest truth is I've been on, somewhat of a in a mode of coasting, if you will, for the better part of, going on about 10 years now. And it is tricky because once you have everything that you need, most people then start gravitating towards things that they want. And it's when you start focusing on things that you want versus what it is that you need that you often get in trouble, just because you start focusing on basically what you don't have as opposed to what you do, right? So you come out of that state of being grateful and appreciative, and you start living in a way that's almost based on how the Joneses live, right? So just trying to keep up with others, and fact is, there's always going to be people who are quote unquote more successful than you, and other people who are quote unquote less successful than you. And so no matter where you are on the path, there's always somebody behind you and somebody in front of you. So the question is, can you really find peace and fulfillment with where you are right now? And for me, I've been in that state of not needing or wanting more than what I have for quite some time. So it is an interesting period of time here. I do think that I'm starting to regain a bit of fire for what's next. But the question is, do I really want to work as hard as I need to work in order to bring that vision to fruition? And that's a struggle, and I'm not sure that I do, because right now I work 3 days a week, and not even full time during those 3 days. So I don't know. It is a game. It is a struggle.
Very interesting. So what would you say, Steve? Is it like when you get too comfortable with what you are doing and what you are having, that this can be kind of dangerous, with like losing this inner fire and this desire to create something, because you have this kind of plateau where everything is running so smoothly and everything is working?
Well, I just think it's a matter of finding other things that put fire in your soul that may not necessarily be work related. For me right now, I've been doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for the better part of 20 years off and on. And I have a renewed fire to get back on the mats and do the training and do the work. I've been going to a lot, sing a lot of live music, right? And I really find fulfillment from being in the environment of those musicians who are at the top of their game and really masters of their craft. So, will it come back to the work front? I don't know. Sometimes those energies are just directed elsewhere.
Yeah, I totally understand. But sounds like you found another magic spark that inspires you. And for myself, I found that most of the time you really get the best ideas when you are relaxing or doing something that has to do anything with business, because your mind is more open and you stay open-minded. And as you mentioned before, Steve, you are more in this receiving mode, like taking this inspiration and then coming up with something else. So I'm also curious, because you just, as you said, work this 3 days a week, what I think most of the listeners are dreaming about, being able to do that, meaning you have a lot of systems in place and things that work for you while you free up some time. But what is your typical morning routine? How do you get into the mood?
Yeah, part of the reason why I've been sort of in this mode of coasting, as I've been now for the better part of 10 years, it's actually been longer than that. But part of the reason why I've been able to really just kind of pull back the reins a bit is so that I could focus on my children. I mean, I've got a 15-year-old and a 12-year-old. So pretty much daily since the time they were old enough to go into school, I've been able to take the kids to school every day and pick them up whenever I can, right? So, I think in terms of the morning routine, it's just simply a matter of getting myself out of bed after hopefully not too late of an evening, and getting the kids up and ready and doing their thing for school, because that's the most important morning routine right now. And I'll be honest, for me, I'm more than happy to sleep in and and just take it easy for a while before the work really kicks in. So it's just an interesting period of time right now. But for the most part, the mornings are focused on the kids, and just kind of sets the tone for the rest of the day.
That is a really nice morning routine to have. And I also think that a lot of the listeners would love to start the day like that, and also sleep in and taking it slow, taking it relaxed, and really starting on your own terms. So this is the ultimate entrepreneurial dream, I guess. So let's talk a little bit about podcasting, because you created this amazing program on how to profit from podcasting. So from your side, what would you say? Why is podcasting so powerful?
Well, I mean, there's obviously two different parts of that conversation there, right? So podcasting as a medium itself, I think, is incredibly powerful from the standpoint of it's really leading the charge insofar as just the whole shift towards pull media, where the consumer pulls the content that they want when they want it, and on their preferred device, right? So podcasting is completely a pull medium. No one is forcing that episode down anyone's throat. It's just simply a matter of, look, how can I be found, and how can I create content that somebody wants to listen to? And now that podcasting is really come into the mainstream, you see them talking about it on mainstream television shows, and it's so much easier now to download and listen to a podcast than it's ever been. I mean, even if you look at the cars, it's just a push of a button on a dashboard, right? So that's brand new, where you've got Google CarPlay and Apple CarPlay and so on, sitting right there on the dashboard of the cars. And that's huge. And you have to understand that that's a relatively new phenomenon. And that's part of the reason why the medium continues to grow. But at the end of the day, I don't believe in podcasting as a business. There's very few people who can make a living just simply by podcasting. So I do believe, however, that there is the business of podcasting, where podcasting can be a component of a new media business. And if you do things the right way, you can create a 7-figure plus business, as we have, with podcasting being a component of a new media business.
That is a very good point and describes this very well. And I would 100% agree with you, Steve, that podcasting is kind of a magic power, or even kind of a superpower when you use it right as a marketing tool for your business, because you can connect with people from all around the world without leaving your home. So this is really strong. And you went one step further. So taking podcasting from only audio into a kind of a live event that is one of a kind. And it's called the New Media Summit. And the next one is coming up now in February 2019. Can you tell us what inspired you to create this event, and especially what is this event about?
Well, the New Media Summit is the event you're referring to, which is a fairly unique event where we give 150 attendees the opportunity to meet and learn from and break bread with and dance with 40 top podcasters from around the globe. And they have an opportunity to pitch the podcasters and literally get booked on the spot. So, yeah, it's a very unique event from that standpoint.
That is really inspiring. So is it still possible for everyone in the audience, Steve, to get tickets to be at that event and pitch themselves to the show hosts?
Sure. Yeah, we do tend to sell out each event that we do. And right now we are pretty much sold out for our next event. But the event that we will have tickets for will be the next one in September in San Diego. And that's September 16th through the 18th in San Diego. And tickets are going to be available at newmediasummit.net. So newmediasummit.net.
Great. Thanks for sharing that. And now what would you say, Steve? Why is there a special kind of magic in creating these live events?
Well, I don't pretend to have all of the answers here, but what I can certainly say is that, there's only so far you can go with an online relationship. And at some point, you just simply have to take those relationships offline if you're going to develop a real relationship with people. And so I'm just a firm believer that live events offer the best possible way and the fastest way for you to develop a real relationship with someone. So yeah, I'm just a huge fan of live events because of the fact that we have the ability to connect with people on a deep, meaningful basis and look people in the eye and and just really get to know someone that you just can't do through a computer.
So true. Really, absolutely true. So, Steve, to come full circle, you as a serial entrepreneur, as an authority, as a podcaster, as an influencer, living this amazing lifestyle of working 3 days a week and also starting the day at your terms with your kids, what are the 3 best tips you can give to the listeners to create a lifestyle like you are living right now?
Mm-hmm. Well, number one, you have to define what that lifestyle is, right? And that's where I think a lot of people just kind of get caught up is they have this vision of wanting to do something, but they don't really know what it is that they want to do. So you have to be able to define what that ideal lifestyle looks like for you. So that's certainly number one. Number two, once you have that clear in your mind, well, then it's a matter of identifying the vehicle that you'll use to achieve that lifestyle. And, with that, as my friend Dave Ramsey says, are you willing to live like no one else so later you can live like no one else, right? And that's where the third step on the path comes in is, doing the work and implementing. And I will tell you that, it doesn't take you nearly as long as you might think to build something pretty amazing. But it does take a lot of work during that period of time to build it. So if you're committed to having that lifestyle, then you got to be committed to doing the work. But if you're committed to doing the work, you can get there a lot quicker than you think.
Wow, that sounds motivational. So, and it also sounds like a magical roadmap you shared here. So I'm pretty sure that a lot of the people in the audience are now really curious about your work and you as a person, as an entrepreneur. Is there still a way, Steve, to work with you in any kind? Like, do you do some consulting one-on-one, or what is the best way for interested people to learn from your experiences?
Well, I would say if you are able to come to a new media summit, that would be a great place to start. Come to the New Media Summit. Let me introduce you to 40 of my podcaster friends. Let me get you booked on shows. And let's give you an opportunity to meet me. And, let's see if I'm your kind of person, right? I mean, that's where it all really starts is you have to start with getting to know someone. And I'm not everybody's cup of tea. So I would say, you come to the New Media Summit and let's spend some time together. And if at the end of those 3 days you feel like I'm someone who can help you and you want to work with me and my team, then awesome. Would love it.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the magic invitation to come to the New Media Summit. It is now in February 2019 in Florida and in September 2019 in September. And this is your chance to meet Steve in person. So, Steve, I would like to thank you so much for being my guest today on Pure Mind Magic. You shared here some amazing insights into your life and business and all the creations you did and you are still doing. So it was a fantastic interview and I'm looking forward to stay in touch.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me on.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening to Pure Mind Magic today and Interview Friday. Don't forget to pick up a copy of my book from Amazon, How Podcasting Can Change Your Life, Unleash Endless Possibilities, in case you are interested in getting started in podcasting this year. Maybe in addition to your blog or YouTube channel. Always a good idea, and you will find a lot of great ideas in this book. I hope you do have a really magical weekend that is coming up, and we hear each other again next Wednesday with some advice from the magic world that you can apply to your business and your life. And when you are new to this show, it would be amazing if you could subscribe. With that, you won't miss any of the new upcoming episodes. And even better, when you could leave a rating and review for the show. You can do that everywhere on Apple Podcasts or Stitcher, whatever is handy to you. So until next time, create some magic.